floors are your primary and secondary most of all, and then reading is usually made up as the third site here in LATAM. We really don't see too much of the mining room at all, but bans coming in now for Cafe. Santos will start us off with a ban onto Montaña. I'm a little bit surprised not to see the Blitz go after Hugzord's performance with it, Jackie. I thought we might have a little target ban coming out.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been too surprised if they did try and make that move, but I guess not. I guess it's not the play they're going to be too worried about. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. In terms of the follow-up,
I think they'll be worried when Blitz is running at them, flashing his shield.
Oh, mate. I don't know how he was able to pull off so many plays with it and just was not punished. Oh, hang on. Sorry, Tim. My cat is attempting to get into a bag. He's making a bit of rusted. I'm just going to move him before we kick this one off.
Got plenty of animal-related situations here on LATAM, Jackie. You know, we love the animal facts. It's absolutely only right and fitting that we should have a pet, really. And I think that's exactly what S'more has been adopted as at this point in time.
He's a good lad. I am interested in getting some content done with him, you know. I would like to get a little setup going, potentially with some bowls of food and let him predict teams. I think that would be a good way to bring him onto the stream. He's a lovely cat. He's a big fan of Rainbow Six. I think his favourite player is Palu, from what I've seen, to be very interested during Liquid games.
Purring away, just watching the kills rain in.
Oh, mate, genuinely. Whenever Nesk pops up on screen, straight onto the hind legs, he's giving it. He's meowing like a madman.
Definitely a Liquid fan then.
Oh, yeah. He's trying to get into the bin. This is ridiculous. Right, that's enough cat talk. It seems like the game is ready to go down. Santos taking on Black Dragons will be an exciting affair. As we move into two of the teams that are quite possibly dark horses of the tournament. Glancing more towards the Black Dragon side for me on that front, as they are exciting. Very explosive, very aggressive. They have a lot of the quantities you'd attribute to a team like INTZ and FaZe, but somehow they just have that bit of pizzazz.
We need to see the aggression continue. We need to see, on the attack, a few mistakes fixed for Black Dragons, I think. They certainly didn't have any problem with being decisive. It was really just going in and winning the gunfights. They were happy to go and get into them, but just a few missed shots did cost them at times. But I'm sure that that, again, it comes and goes. It can literally be that, you know, one or two of your players are just having a slightly off day, and we've seen Pino today come in and just absolutely wreck everybody in the server, just hitting shots left, right, and centre. And then, you know, you might not have that sort of accuracy every single day. So we'll see how Black Dragons go through this one, but we can see Santos being very aggressive to begin with. Mighty on the Malusi there, just waiting to hit that nitro onto the rooftop. He's going to wait for the approach to come. Out comes the nitro. We get a nice view of it, but he's just a couple of seconds early. I think if he leaves that just slightly longer, he maybe gets a bit of joy there.
Potentially so. That could have been a banging way to kick things off, but it isn't going to go down like that just yet. So 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the round so far. We haven't had a first pick being found, but they're still utilising that util from on top of the roof. We see the potato getting cooked and then being dropped down through the hatch to try and cause a little bit of devastation when it detonates. Here comes Hugzord on the Blitz, though. We were talking about this. We were trying to hype it up. If you haven't seen it, Hugzord can be a big pain in the bottom. He knows how to play the Blitz to a very high level. He's fast, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he left you having a fit with how he can play Blitz. It is annoying what he can do on this operator.
Oh, he's an absolute menace. There's no two ways about it. He gets right up in the defender's faces. Now, how about that? Hornetow getting right up in the face of Wag and ripping it right off. Slap the lips off his face there as he closes down the smoke, and that is a big loss to begin with. But Scardinia will level things up with a kill onto PZD. 4 versus 4. We find ourselves with 1 minute and 30 to go. So, Hugzord, it's your time. He needs to get moving. He needs to start pushing this man away from Washroom. But right now, the deployable shield that is still in place is preventing him from doing that. His team is trying everything they can to enable him to push forward, and the choice they go with is the smoke grenade, so they can't see him coming. He does manage to get himself over. He will open up a hole into the washroom. Scardinia gets himself one. Missed shots from Hugzord, and that was, I said, coming in. Missed shots were a bit of a problem. Scardinia and Mighty taking full advantage of that situation. 4 versus 1 now, and this round looks all but done.
Oh, mate, the Santos school is in session, and they've absolutely taught Black Dragons a lesson into this round. They've given them no opportunities of getting anything in this. Patoxy's the only one that's alive, trapped in a 1 versus 4. Takes a wide swing out, spots out Mighty Malusi, and will pop her down to the ground. Close contact could be found as well. If he enters in towards the site, he needs to clear his tight left, but there is also a crossfire set up on the far right. Small angle that's been opened up. He is trapped between a rock, a hard place, and an even harder place, and Cyprus, he takes the hard swing. A heavy hit as the bullets will rain through, shutting down Patoxy and securing the round for Santos.
Patoxy finding himself somewhere that he really didn't want to be, and that was in the sights of Cyprus. Cyprus had a good game yesterday against Team Liquid, showed his proficiency very, very well, and we know that he can be consistent with that, so he gets himself on the board and starts things rolling, and as the Jaeger, he can be a real danger if he's able to get that momentum behind him and the confidence builds with a couple of kills in the early rounds. He's the sort of player that you can see go on to get 15 kills in a game quite easily. So Santos, right now, locking down the top floor of bar, and they're actually choosing to go to reading as their secondary site rather than down to kitchen. And that's not too much of a surprise, because with such a good top floor defense there, building confidence for them, they can largely play the same defense here. They'll have a 1 or 2 man deficit as they have to leave somebody down on site, but generally speaking, a lot of the same principles will apply to the top floor here.
Okay, second round then. Santos. Big opener. A lot of it goes over the one man, though, Scardenia. And it is quite crazy that he was able to do so much. Also, what's even more balmy is the fact that he nearly stabbed the blitz and got the blade off him. He ran straight into his face, fought fire with fire. At that point, you would have thought Scardina was the one with a shield, with how much confidence he had to just sprint up towards him and basically just take him for 6. It's madness.
Absolutely no stopping him. He wasn't concerned in the slightest. And Scardina and Mighty just going really big for their team there, exactly where they needed it in that mid to late round. Just getting 3 frags, chaining them together, and it just left Black Dragons on the ropes at that point. And as I said, Black Dragons, they came out aggressive as they have done previously, trying to find a way to push Hugzord right up into their faces, but this time it backfired. They certainly had a lot more joy with that against Ints, but as I said, Santos, you've got to write off that first matchup against Team Liquid. It's always going to be a tough start, a real baptism by fire, and they need now to come in and show what they are all about. Hornetow, it will be getting the opening kill once again onto Cyprus, but just as in the last round, Santos fight their way back into things. 3 versus 3, and now 2 as the kills continue to rain in. Wag making more of an impact on the round here. Hornetow baiting Scardini right beautifully for himself there, just putting the nade in behind him, forcing him down the stairs and picking him off as he moves around. 2 versus 2 after a quick flurry of kills in the first minute.
Wag and Rise, Hornetow and Hugzord. A horrible spot to be left in a 2 versus 2 like this into the second round of Cafe. 1 minute and 47 seconds as the drones are being utilised for Hugzord to try and get an extra bit of reconnaissance, but he's not able to do much else. Instead, roams up towards the top floor. Hornetow in the downtime will send Rise back down to the ground though, and the chances of Santos getting the round, they're not rising. It's quite the opposite. They're falling. Wag not looking best pleased about the position that he's left in. A 1 versus 2, Tim, as he turns the corner, attempting to take an early peek, but not spotting too much there, as they'll just bob and weave, knowing that they've got to make their play in towards that site relatively soon. They've got a minute left to work with, so they don't have to rush it just yet, and they're not. They are taking it step by step. Wag, of course, having those cans to play with. He's got 1 left in reserve. If he finds a first frag, he can hold on to it and use that utility to really ruin them in the late round, but it won't matter. As the peak comes out, we have the wide swing there. Nade forces him to move, and he'll finish him off with the SMG.
Great shot there from Hornetow. He was seriously low health at that point in time, but able to get his shots off straight onto the head of Wag and put him down. We're going to have a quick rehost here as we find ourselves 1-1 after the opening 2 rounds. And as I predicted, Jackie, I think this could be a real sleeper game. It's going to be surprisingly good. We've had early aggression. It's been exciting. It's been unpredictable. It's been everything that we need from a LATAM Siege game.
Oh, mate, it's been sick, honestly. It's actually been a real big banger so far with the opening rounds that came out, at least where we've seen Scardina having a chance to just overwhelm and overthrow. We then get a bit of a clutch round thrown into the mix as well. It's looking spicy. It's looking like there is a lot of content to come out of this one.
I'm sure there will be. I'm sure we're going to have big players. The thing is, when you get players throwing themselves into the breach like this, Hugzord running in through smokes over a deployable shield, that sort of situation, one way or another, whether it pays off or not, it's always exciting. That's the top and bottom of it, because either, yes, it's successful and they go in and they just gun everybody and it's fantastic to watch, or alternatively, it generally takes a bit of a hero play to stop them. As you say, Scardini getting up there, willing to just throw the knife about and try and get in on the melee. It takes something unpredictable to stop that. There's only one way to meet that sort of force, and that is head on. And if we get more of that, it's going to be edge of the seat stuff.
Yeah, well, if anyone at home has any thoughts based off the initial few rounds that we've seen, we've not had too much from it, just a couple of tasters, then tweet in at us and let us know. Hashtag BR6, of course. We've been popping them up throughout the course of the stream. We do intend to continue doing so. So get your voice in and get it heard live on broadcast here over the course of this last best of two of the evening, Tim. Quite a successful evening, I think.
I think that's the only way to describe it. We've had some fantastic siege so far. We saw a masterclass from Team 1 to begin with, and worrying signs for the FaZe clan as they struggle to get themselves rolling. It was a tough watch, to be fair, because it's not the FaZe that we are used to seeing, but Team 1 certainly sending a message that they want to be back at that mini-major and they want to be at the Invitational next time around. And then, of course, an absolute classic being thrown down between Team Liquid and NIP.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's have a little bit of a look back then before we look forward back into this game, Tim, as we do have the schedule, of course. We can see how tonight is going to go down, but more importantly, what you might have missed and what you might want to catch on a VOD, Tim. Which one would you choose if you could only pick one? It's
got to be Team Liquid NIP, hasn't it? 24 rounds between those two with only one round the difference. 13-11 overall to NIP. Absolutely huge fixture it was, and certainly one to watch back if you didn't see it. Even if you did see it, it's one to watch back.
Oh, yeah. Tim, some fantastic games. Definitely ones that's going to get the whole family involved, even your pets as well.
We love them. We love the pets here on Latam, Jackie. You know, we want to hear about them. We want to see them. The pets are a great and big part. We have plenty of talk about the animals, whether it be facts, whether it be real life animals. You know, everyone's welcome. Everyone and everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've brought along S'more, just in case. Obviously, he has been a bit of a terror today, Tim. I think he's realised that, you know, we're there focusing too much on Santos and Black Dragon, so he's trying to get involved. He's a big Liquid fan, but I think for this one, he seems to be repping Black Dragon, so he's popped on over. I don't know if we can see him there. He's just barely out of shot. Hang on.
There we go. There's the big man. Look at that. He's there. He's just giving it a little paw. He knows what's going on. He's got the black. Is that a yellow collar he's got on?
He does. He has a little yellow collar. He's a big Wu-Tang fan. He's a big fan of the Wu-Tang
clan. I can imagine that. Why would he not be? I've heard that's true of all cats.
Oh, they do. They all love it. They love a bit of rap. He's a good boy. He is. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get some fantastic moments for all of our viewers, even their pets, when we get back into this one. We are just waiting to continue on, of course, with the series if you're just joining us. Hopefully he'll stop going in the bin, Tim.
Well, I mean, that would be ideal. We've got everybody in the lobby now. The question is, Jackie, who's going to get put in the bin here? Is it going to be Black Dragons or is it going to be Santos? There's only one way to find out, and that's to head back over to Cafe Dostoyevsky. 2 rounds in. We're heading to round 3. It is now 1 apiece on the scoreboard. Nothing to differentiate between the two of them to begin with. We've had big players coming in on both sides. Scardini and Mighty looking great so far, but Hornetau very strong on the entry game as well. Who is going to win out here is anybody's guess.
Oh, man. It's because it could go either way. We've already seen that with the rounds that have popped up, although it's not been many, of course, only 2 so far. They have been quite exciting. I do hope the game will follow on with that suit going forward as well. Heading back into it now, we are on Cafe. It's our last best of 2 of the night. This is the matchup that is full of underdog storylines. Potentially for Black Dragons, they're the team I'm looking at to try and have a bigger finish towards the end of Stage 2. I think they could try and make it towards mid of the pack, if not better, if they play some solid siege throughout the season. We've seen they have the capabilities. We've seen they have the innovation as well with some of the cheeky picks they've been throwing into the mix.
Santos choosing not to repeat Reading Room. They're going to head down to Kitchen this time around. Obviously, having not picked up the win on Reading Room, it would have been possible for them to go back there, but they think it's better. Try and get another site under the belt, and once they've been here to Kitchen, win or lose, they will be able to go back to the top floor. So, generally speaking, what you will see from the attackers here on Kitchen is one of two things. It's either a push towards the freezer side, or it is a push to the bakery side. Now, bakery side is where we've just seen Wag running into there. It is the west side of the map. Generally, if you want to do a bakery push, you need to get some top floor control, because otherwise Santos are going to position somebody in or around try and hold vertical angles, particularly into that preparation room, which is directly ahead of us. We just saw Mighty moving in there. Then they will try to hold vertical angles in there and prevent you getting onto the default plant spot. So it looks like it is going to be a west side push. We've got the Kali in place as well to try and take those long-range sniper shots. Huge scope on that rifle. Does see the head of Wamai there, but will be unable to take Mighty off the map.
Oh, a bit of a nightmare. That could have been a fantastic way to kick off the round. It does slow them down ever so slightly into this one. Of course, in terms of the timing, though, there's still a ton to play with. The clock has really only just begun. We've got 1 minute and 50 seconds left to work with, and let's see if he'll get another opportunity here. Hornetown might be the one to actually gain first contact. He's sneaking suspicion and knows the location of the man trapped behind the front desk. Can't really afford to reposition. If he does, he'll get shot in the face. So effectively, he's trapped in no man's land at this point, Tim.
Hugsord, we can see, just feeding information back into his team there. The player cams are a great addition. I really like them. You get a real feel for the player's environment, but also you can see who's vocal, maybe who's not. And right now, they are struggling to deal with the man in behind the bakery counter. We can see, I think there was an intention that he may just have to move there. I think it's Wag on Wamai looking at that silhouette, but Mighty's going to pop out on the Wamai and take down PZD. That's going to be your opener and starts the game rolling. Now, Wag has moved into the corner. Mighty gets a second onto Hugsord. He's out causing an absolute terror from Bakery Prep there. He gets himself a third on the round. Lagonis makes it 4 as he gets shut down. 3 versus 1 at the minute, but Patoxy going big right now. Brings it to 2 versus 1. This is certainly doable. There's a lot of work to do ahead of him, but it's definitely possible.
Patoxy, can this man pick it up on the clutch as he finds the long adjustment? Tim, the double take! He looks back, he spots him, but as he turns and tries to run, he gets shot in the back. Gunned down by the Mac Daddy with a Mac 10. Rise finishes him on the mute.
So close to success. Patoxy there just in the red corridor, gunning left, right and centre. He was 1v3, managed to bring it back to 1v1, but ultimately shut down by the last man standing. And that's going to be another round going to Santos. And honestly, I think we're going to see this one go back and forward. Neither team is going to be able to find themselves a clear advantage here. We're going to be heading back up to Reading, so it is possible for Santos if they wanted to go back up to the top floor where they did win round number 1. But at this point, they feel reasonably confident in being able to close out the mid floor. So they're going to give it a go. It wasn't a million miles away. They find themselves 1 versus 2 at the end. But there was a lot of time on the clock for, I think it was Wag who was left to have to soak up. But they will give it another try here. 2-1 on the scoreboard. And anybody right now just looking for any advantage they can find.
Right then. Back into the game. That's a round that's going to stick with you for a while. So unfortunate for Patoxy. He really put his life on the line on that one. Played his heart out. Oh, the double take is what does it for me. Looking back, spots him on the angle, turns around. The regret you'd feel at that point as he thinks maybe he can just peace out of there. Quick switch from Shotty to SMG, and that silences his chances at the clutch. But of course, it doesn't end their chances in the game. It just gives over a second round to Santos and keeps it moving as we'll head back into the 4th round now. PZD, classic play. This seems to be his standard go-to every time we see them on the attack on Cafe for Black Dragons. Jumps on the roof, goes for the 2 taps on both of the early barricades to see if he can get anything from it. But to no avail this time around. Rest of the team, of course, starting to make their ascent all the way up to the top floor so they can clear out level by level.
It's not even about potentially closing off the peak. Even if you think you're not being peaked, it's a lesson to take away. If you're in rank, just chuck bullets through every barricade that's in front of you. It doesn't even cost you a mag, and you could do that 1,000 times. You might get a kill or two, who knows? And then you've at least got the people raging on the other side of the server because they don't know how you've managed to do it. But taking the odd pot shot, you never know who might just be running past at that time. Now, that is very early use of that Toxic Babe canister there. We can see the smoke of Wag being pinged out as well. Out comes the jump out. That's the sort of aggression we want to see here. Rise taking PZD down off the rappel. That is the Valkyrie, I'm sure, using her own cams there to gain that intel, to know that the man was on the rope and to take him down.
Oh no. This is not what you want at all. You've gone out for a nice family outing towards the cafe. You've gone to the Greasy Spoon and the waiters are jumping out of the windows, wielding weapons and stopping you from getting in through the windows. Another man could have his neck broken as well, as Wax spots out a player on the rappel, but does back off for the meantime, at least giving them a bit of room to breathe new life into the round, potentially, if they can hit their shots. Lagunis is there supporting him. They know that there's a player nearby. They've got a sneaking suspicion that he couldn't have actually rotated off because they had clear line of sight the entire time. But they can't force him out. He's just holding until a shot comes in from behind. Lagunis will eventually be able to get a peek on the angle and put him to bed, leaving us here in a 4 versus 3 with 60 seconds left for Black Dragons to claw this one back from the jaws of defeat.
Black Dragons so far unable to secure that top floor control that they were looking for. We can see the defenders have largely been forced back to site now, but with only 50 seconds left to go, it is going to be a tough horizontal push. I think Black Dragons will no doubt realise that it is possible for them to move in now and take over that control, but there is a lot of work to be done. They spot out a defender through the little peak hole at the back of the dining room there, but unable to really do any sort of damage. Rise is half health, but other than that, Santos looking pretty good here. 4 versus 3, 25 seconds left to go now. Toxi's looking to move up White Stairs, gets one onto Rise. Surely there was a call out, doesn't know there's a second, but he does manage to beat Scardina to the trigger and will take the Wamai off the board. That's a great turnaround from Patoxi. 3 versus 2. Lagonis getting the diffuser down, but Mighty has more to say with the 3 key in the round. It's always Mighty right now. He is Mighty in the service. Mighty difficult to kill, Mighty difficult to find a round against. That much is for sure.
Oh, he's a mighty, mighty man. He's young and he's in his prime, and he proves that, popping off not only into the round, but overall in the game for Santos. I had hedged my bets towards Black Dragons coming out swinging on this one, but their wings have been clipped off entirely by Mighty, sniping them out of the sky and bringing their expectations back down to ground level. A 3-1 split, 2 rounds left here into the opening half of Cafe, and these aren't exactly lengthy rounds either. They feel like they're going relatively quickly, all things considered, Tim.
Yeah, they are. They're whipping past at the minute. We are moving through this one at a breakneck speed, almost, as you say, at the half. 3-1 in favour of Santos. And I'm actually quite glad to see this. I don't say that in a biased way, Jackie. You know, I'm quite happy just to see entertaining Siege. But Santos yesterday struggled against Liquid. And what I want to see is 10 competitive teams here in LATAM. So Santos coming out and sending a message saying, we can play, we are here. Our 2 new guys are settling in just fine and really making a competitive matchup of this against Black Dragons. That's exactly what we want to see. Let's have Black Dragons fight their way back into it. Let's see it go all the way to 12. I just don't want to see teams struggle play day after play day. And Santos, they are showing that that game yesterday has had absolutely no effect mentally on them, and they are here and ready to win.
God damn. Santos giving it tonight. Mighty, of course, 7 kills as well. Fresh back in off the back of the rehost. He has been popping off and playing his heart out. Of course, standard play, as we come to expect from PZD on the Ash with the way he approaches it into the round. Hornetal, though, a sneaking suspicion of the potential of a run-out that could occur, and they'd be right to have an inkling about this. Santos set up a little bit more aggressively into this round, seeming like they are willing to maybe run a bit of a risk as it develops. There is a chance for it.
See, the rooftop is being gained. Mighty gets a kill onto Patoxi with the Nitro to start things off exactly as he finished the last round. That is 4 kills from Mighty unanswered. 3 at the end of round 4 and then 1 at the beginning of round 5. He's certainly continuing exactly where he left off, just slaying in the server, shutting down the Black Dragons left, right and centre. He is quenching their fire. There is absolutely nothing that they can do right now to put any fear into that man. He is just all over this map and making a nuisance of himself. 1 minute in, Black Dragons have made the drop in through Cigar Shot, but there is only one man with him. The drones are doing some work there. There's a bit of time before Black Dragons can really start pushing forward. Now, that's a nice angle being held by the Cali all the way into the back of Freezer there. I don't think at the minute there is anybody playing there for Santos. They would have to be reliant on somebody rotating into that location to catch them out.
Scardina getting another pick now. So Black Dragons, again, another round where they are dropping numbers incredibly quickly. And it's starving them out. It's not leaving them with much to work with. Down to Hugzord, PZD, and Lagunis. And this could be going wrong very quickly as the shots are whizzing by. The sniper of Hugzord is nearly stunned and taken out of commission in seconds. Ash will roam in to provide a little bit of assistment. I don't know if it is really going to help them out too much. And the angle they're in, they're just trapped, stuck, and waiting for the encounter to come around. Hugzord wide swinging, peeking out over towards the main site. Smoke can goes down. He's got to bail out, and he barely will. A little bit of health, a smidgen to keep him alive. 50 seconds now. Peeking in, risking it all for a biscuit, but I don't think he's going to get himself anything off the back of this. There's no reason why they'd peek. They know they've got a ginormous manpower advantage to play with.
Shut down from White Stairs. Scardina starts moving up, takes the head off of PZD, finds himself another Cypress it will be to finish things off, but a flawless round comes in from Santos, and they are starting to look absolutely dynamite right now. Mighty, unstoppable in the server, and Cypress and Scardina are certainly getting themselves in on the action with Rise and Wag not slouching either. Find ourselves 4-1 now to Santos, and they take themselves a really quick advantage in this matchup.
4-1. Speedy rounds, speedy plays, confidence, and clean entry frags as well. They're building themselves a really big name into this game. And it's surprising. I didn't expect it to be this clear-cut, this one-sided with the way they're coming out. Maybe Santos are more than the dark horse than we expected. Maybe it's them that are on the flip side that we need to be looking at. If they're showing that they've got stature over Black Dragons, that's a good position to be in. The teams that were towards the bottom of the standings last season, if you've moved ahead of them, you've been able to overtake and really get yourself into a better spot. That's a huge result. Of course, it's also now a little bit longer they've had to bond as a new roster with the 2 changes that came in with Wag and Rise coming into effect. It's looking like the team's starting to get their groove on, and Mighty certainly found his form.
I mean, as I commented coming in, Black Dragons were not the best on attack yesterday. They were certainly better when they were on the defensive side. They were aggressive, they were entertaining to watch, and they're certainly willing to go in there and give it their all and, you know, really have a big attempt at getting those defenders cleared out. But it wasn't always that successful, and that is exactly what we're seeing again so far. Hornetau started out big with a couple of entries in round 1 and 2, but since then it has been very quiet and all sliding towards the side of Santos realistically, with Mighty coming in and doing some great work for his team so far. If we have a look at his stats, 8-1, Jackie, 8-1 inside 5 rounds. He is dominating so far.
Oh, mate. The big dog himself, absolutely giving it. Every round has been a bit of a showstopper. He's got confidence, he's got his cool, and he's looking sick with the way he's playing here. Round 6 then. Black Dragons, if you've got anything left, if there's any fuel in the tank, you need to give it your all now. Rev it up. Oh, Cypress spooked there by the automaton's coming at his feet. Imagine that, Tim. Just 2 little robots driving straight past it. You would be scared.
Absolutely would be, especially when you don't know who's on the other end or who might be following them up in this case. But that's part of the issue. Black Dragons not really getting themselves inside the map in order to be in a position to really do anything with that information. Hornetau's going in, looking to see if he can get himself another entry kill, but it seems like he's just aware that there could be a cam knocking about or maybe some utility potentially. He seems to have turned his attention back towards the red stairs. Hugzord pushed forward with some rapid movement there, but is forced back. We can see that he's gone back to the freezer to assist PZD pushing in. They've made some good progress, to be fair, Black Dragons. They've got control over White Corridor. That's a nice headshot coming in from PZD there, absolutely destroying Scardina on a long angle. Hugzord now gets himself into the freezer, still full health and could be an absolute menace here, pushing in towards the site, but we've got 2 down on the side of Black Dragons. It is effectively 3 versus 3 with Patoxia and Lagonis down on the ground. PZD's having a great game. Hugzord gets in on the action as well. Wag will close down Patoxia Foxy, but surely this is now a matter of time. 1 versus 4, as Lagonis has been collected as well. There is 2 low health, but surely with a blitz on the board, this is going to be absolutely too much for Santos to do, and Black Dragons, they should be able to level this half up at least 2-4, and it won't be too bad. We can see the challenge coming in. Malusi turns her back, and that's going to be it, as Hugzo puts the pistol to work and closes out the round. 4-2 on the half. Still Santos and have an advantage on the scoreboard.
Mate, that was a bit of a messy one. That was not the cleanest kitchen environment I've ever seen. I don't think that would get approval by the health board there. That's definitely a -star on the foodometer. Tim, 5-4. This game is getting a little bit more tasty now, though. We're seeing the response from Black Dragons. At least they got themselves one more round, right? That's a bit of a buffer. Putting yourself into a spot to try and build from that, but they need to come out strong. First round means a lot, and first round expectations could be pretty crazy here. The Amaru pick being brought to the table by Mighty. He's hitting his shots. He looks on the ball tonight. If he's going to go out and absolutely give it with a wide aggressive burst immediately straight for a window, I'm living for it.
It could be an audacious play, that much is for sure. The common places that we tend to see Amaru use, there was obviously the classic straight up onto the roof and down the skylight, but that is generally watched for. I'd be surprised if it had too much success. The other one being up to the reading door and then straight in through that east balcony window that's the bottom right of your screen right now. Straight into the cocktail balcony and then just clear out the east side of the map. That bottom area of your map, that tends to be where a lot of the trouble comes from for the attackers here, because the defenders like to get themselves lodged in there and just hold long angles all the way across the map from there. Very difficult to clear out. I've seen a couple of different ways that it is attempted to be done. One is getting in through that cocktail balcony window and just trying to make a bit of a nuisance of yourself from the single doorway. Alternatively, we've seen Buck moved in underneath. He's obviously not playable here, but we have seen Buck moved in underneath into reading and just absolutely decimate the ceiling above him and just leave the defenders absolutely nothing to stand on that is solid anymore apart from the metal beams, and then they just get shot up when they try to. So there is a number of ways of dealing with that area. I've got a feeling that Amaru might just be aimed at doing exactly that.
Standard stuff so far. Scardina, the Renovator. Obviously, in his past times when he's not playing Siege, we know that he likes to buy and sell houses and renovate them, normally working on hatches and floorboards. And we're seeing a little bit of that transition from real life into game there, Tim. Handy with a hammer and handy in removing those vents.
Struggles to sell them, though, as they're all just smashed up when he's finished.
Well, that's the thing. You know, I think he got a little bit confused in renovating houses and also just those stress rooms where you just smash a room apart. But I tell you what is getting smashed apart, the likelihood of Black Dragons getting this round, and also the friendship between Mighty and Wag as he's been shot in the back of the head, backstabbed by the imposter, and leaving us into this position. A 3 versus 1 that is over and done. Rise and Mighty get the final 2 frags and Santos get another round. Again, in rapid time. If they are on the stopwatch, Tim, they're doing it with trailblazing speed.
As you say, you've got to think that maybe they've got a car parked somewhere, Jackie, and the meter is ticking down and they know they need to go and get it shifted, or they're going to have a ticket left there, because right now they are in a rush to get off this server. They are just absolutely rattling through rounds, moving into site quickly, aggressively. Mighty starts with an opener onto Lagonis, and then 15 seconds later he's getting the diffuser down on the ground while Rise finishes off the round, mopping up the last defender at the other side of the map. Great plays from Santos. They are bringing an absolute tour de force to this game.
They're giving it. They've gone out there. They've just played their hearts out. They've brought the competition to them. They've shaken them to their core. It feels like the whole team has just kicked it up into Nitros level speed. If we normally talk about big MPH, Tim, this is on another planet. This is gargantuan MPH. It's max off the speedo. MPH.
This is absolute max. There is absolutely no quarter being given here by Santos. They are showing no mercy whatsoever in putting Black Dragons to the sword. And it's interesting because coming into it, I commented on the aggression that we had seen out of Black Dragons against Ints. They were very quick in the top floor clearance of Cafe, getting in there, sweeping across and just removing moving ints from in front of them, but it's as if Santos have recognised that and looked at the situation and thought, you know what, let's just fight fire with fire. Let's just throw petrol on that blaze and see exactly what happens. And right now, they're just warming their hands over it, and they are the benefactors.
And now remember as well, if you ever have a bonfire in your back garden, make sure to check the wood if you've left it out from the previous night for any hedgehogs, as they do tend to crawl inside and use it as a safe space for warmth. So don't just ignite that bonfire.
Got to look after the wildlife, Jackie.
You do, you do. Hedgehogs, you know, they can't defend themselves. They're too small.
I mean, part of their anatomy is literally built around defending themselves, to be fair.
Yeah,
but it is against
flames.
other rodents and small mammals, I believe.
You know, that might stop a dog. Like, you know, you try to bite it, you're like, oh, spikes. But flames, they don't give a damn, do they?
No, they're not worried about the spikes.
They take no hostages. No hedgehog-based hostages. Oh, round at hand, though, into round 8. Let's see if we'll have some spiky plays from the side of Santos, if they'll be spearheading their way back into getting another round, as they only need 2 more to find themselves a W here against Black Dragon's Tim on Cafe. And it's looking incredibly likely. I see no reason why they won't be able to win this series now.
There's certainly going to have to be a shift in the tides if Black Dragons are going to find something here, because at the minute, Santos have got all the answers to every question that Black Dragon have asked. It's like they've seen the test paper before coming in here. I'm sure that they've watched the VOD of Black Dragons on Cafe from yesterday. I'm sure that was an absolute priority for Santos, but coming in, playing them and just finding the answers, the cracks, and just getting in there like water every single time and busting them wide open, well, you can see legs there. Shots will be taken. Hornetau just manages to move himself away to safety. Scardini has taken some big damage along the way. Mighty, he's just eager, isn't he? He just wants every single kill that he can find at the minute. He's having a herd sort of day, and he gets himself one onto Potoxy. Yet another opener for him. 12 and 2 on the round so far. Absolutely huge from Mighty.
Yeah, Mighty is giving it. He is fired up. He has been let rip like a Beyblade, and he is smashing his way through everyone on the side of Black Dragons. Dropping Potoxy is a nice early entry frag, but there's a response back from this man, Hornetau, stinging the competition as they'll peek into him. He drops Ash, burning her to a crisp, but look who responds. Scardina coming out there as he'll put Hugzord back down into an early grave. He's low HP though, so he can't afford to push into the Sanguine Arsenic. He's got to keep his distance between this smoke and wait for it to dissipate so he can link up with his teammates and make their moves in towards the A bomb site. You've got a 3-player convergence that can occur, a bit of a 3-pronged attack, and they need to go for it off the back of Mighty's contact. Rise needs to hit his shot though to back him up, Tim, and it's all falling to pieces, leaving it into a 2 versus 1 now, as PZD's the only one alive. The Wamai, can he clutch it out with the AUG? Has to deny the plant. Wag running around looking for an opportunity to get it down. He's got to make sure he can plant this diffuser. It's now or never. If he's knocked off it, the round will be lost. PZD, does he realise he can push and go for the wide swing? It's a little bit too late. It's gone down and time is ticking. 40 seconds to find a 1 versus 2. Spots out one back over towards Cigar. Jumps on the diffuser, looking for the disable. He's going to stick it. He's just going to stick it, Tim. 2 seconds. They've got to be quick about this. He's going to get it. He's not faked it. He's stuck on it the whole time, and Black Dragons win.
Pros don't fake, Jackie. PZD proving that he just sees it all the way through, and questions have got to be asked to Santos there. That is a mistake on their part. Great work to get that diffuser down on the ground and active. Also great use of that smoke utility just to facilitate the players to move away safely, but ultimately allowing PZD immediately onto that diffuser for the full disable, the full 7 seconds, not being within striking distance. It's a big mistake. It is a big mistake, and one that they might rue, because that now pulls Black Dragons back into this 3rd round on the board for them. They find themselves 5-3, and they are fighting here on Cafe, and that really could be the sort of energy shift that might just propel them back into this one.
Man, that's a crazy round. That's going to annoy you. That is absolutely balmy that he's been able to get onto it and just sit there holding it. Confidence, though. really, really does reign supreme into that encounter. It takes a lot to be able to just fully commit to a stick like that and not think that they're just lurking around the corner, potentially going to swing out. Smart play to make, because it did look unlikely. Obviously, there would have been many other opportunities for him into that round. Talking of opportunities, it seems like there's going to be an opportunity for a rehost here, Tim, potentially, as we have had a dropout, but there hasn't been any conversation about it yet. Obviously, trying to remember as well how many we've had through this point, but no, okay. We are going back for a rehost. Wasn't sure if we'd reached the limit on that one, but I didn't think. That's ridiculous. Well, I feel like my whole life's been a lie. All right, well, anyway. St. Bernard's aside, we're back into the game. What's your favourite brand of dog? Let us know over on Twitter. #BR6 as we get back into the gameplay, of course. 5-3 is the current scoreline as we're finally ready to kick off Cafe once again. It is the 9th round of the game. We've suffered 2 rehosts, unfortunately, with this one, so the tempo's been a bit back and forth. But Black Dragons have started to show they do have momentum left in them, Tim. I'm curious to see if that will carry over, though, because obviously we've little bit of downtime there. It's a couple of minutes. It might have slowed them down again. And if so, I'm scared that they will let this one slip by them and we'll be going on to the second map.
Santos then need to find a way to keep that pace up. That's what we generally see affected most by the rehosts, is where teams are coming in being aggressive and, you know, really pushing into sight quickly. And Santos, they've struck rounds off in a minute and a half here. They have been absolutely flying through Black Dragons. That's generally the thing that gets impacted. So that's something that Santos are going to have to deal with. They need to come in and they need to keep that pace there, because it has been a big strength, a big part of their game so far. And we can see immediate pressure being paid towards the white corridor side of the map. So first job will be to try and clear out VIP. We can see we've got a deployable shield there. There is a man playing inside of VIP as well. White stairs is checked and approach will be made through to the double window before long. But first of all, step 1, deal with the deployable shield.
Okay. Round 9 underway. Valkyrie already under fire. And Sugzord, of course, taking a couple of stray bullets. That will stunt him into the round and slow him down, potentially. But I want him to try and keep that confidence and go for something ridiculous. Instead, though, it's going to be this man that does something outrageous. Hornetal with the opening fragged him as he bests out Monkey in the early contact and does a lot of damage.
Couldn't have chosen anybody better to take out. As we say, obviously the scoreboards have reset coming in on the back of the rehost, but Mighty had at least 12 kills before that point, so taking him down, that is certainly taking one of the Slayers of Santos off the server. But right now, there are more and more as Scardinia and Wag get in. 2 for Scardinia, 1 for Wag, and that is going to set the tails of Santos wagging. That much is for sure. 4 versus 2 now. They quickly find themselves in a switcheroo. Hornetal, however, gets in with the second on the round, taking Scardinia down, but that was a big risk and it did not pay off as Lagonis tried to aggress onto the man at Garage, shut down by a Wag. Long range exchange here. Hornetal taking big damage. The SMG really not built for that sort of distance, and Rise it will be who finds the man, finds the kill and finds the round for Santos, as we find ourselves going on to map point very quickly, and the rehost certainly not seeming to affect the team here who have got the momentum. Santos it is, taking round number 9.
Today was clearly a good day for Santos, even though they've had to use their AKs. The Nomad picking up the final frag, where Rise will be sealing the deal of at least a guaranteed draw for them, and now they have the opportunity to shut down this first map. One more round is all that's required to put Cafe to bed and move us on to the second and final map of the night here in the third playday of BR6. Things are really starting to heat up. And for Black Dragons, they need to use that flame breath. They need to start flapping their wings and show that they've got any fight left in them now, Tim. Because one more mistake means that they are going to be beheaded by the Knights of Santos, and they'll walk away with the victory here, 7-3, if they win this round.
They are certainly looking like a bit of a toothless dragon at the minute, not really able to back up any kills that they get. We saw them have a good opener there. Hornetal taking Mighty off the board. If he could pick a man from Santos to take down at the minute, he would be the one. He would be the one you would come in and hand pick for that opening death. But even with that on the board, the strength of Santos at the minute is found in the depth of the squad. Scardinia coming in and getting a big double, and we saw that out of him last season, and he's really carrying it forward into this one, showing exactly why he kept his place in this roster when changes needed to be made, and he really pushed that line, pushed that round over the line there. And Santos 6-3 now, map point, and they need and want to get themselves off Cafe quickly. They don't want to let Black Dragons get back into this and get any momentum heading into that second map.
Santos, can you secure the bag and run away with a victory here? Snatch the lease out of the hand of Black Dragons and repossess this prime real estate waterfront cafe, Tim. It is worth a lot of money, and they want to take that lease out of the hands of Black Dragons. If they can get one more round, it will be theirs. The defensive side of Black Dragons, you have to step up to the mark now. It's do or die from this point forward. No second chances, no more room for error. And in terms of the entry frags we've seen coming out, I am terrified of what could be going down here. It feels like all of the roster of Santos is being able to step up when it matters most. They're passing the baton at perfect times. And honestly, Tim, with 2 minutes left to go into this, with all 5 alive on either side, I'm terrified for when that first contact is found.
As you say, the cafe is a real piece of property. I'm sure an estate agent would have no job at all shifting this. It would sell itself. But right now, the only thing being sold is Scardinia down the river as Hornetai moves in with the shotgun and deletes him off the white stairs. Wag will get one for himself onto PZD, but kills are raining in on both sides as Patoxy it will be shutting down Rise. So that is the Nomad gone, hopefully for them. The air jabs have already been deployed. 4 versus 3, and Black Dragons, they need to take full advantage of this situation, and that's not something they've been able to do so far. I commented at the end of last round, no matter when they come in and get that man advantage, they're unable to really make it pay dividends, and that's something that is going to have to change. I think they get a little bit of a peek there. Hornetai onto Mighty. That is a nice quick peek back in the opposite direction. Ooh. Takes a peek. He's just left, right, centre, everywhere. Kill onto Cyprus. 1 minute left to go. 1 versus 4.
Wag, can you do it? I mean, he's starting to make it a possibility, but look at his HP, so low. A single sneeze near him could effectively take him out of commission here into the round. Paranoid about the placement of the cams as well, and he will get plucked out of the sky, dead before he even hits the ground, as Patoxy runs out and cleans house with the final kill, being racked up by the Jaeger. And Black Dragons getting themselves another opportunity, keeping themselves in the fight for at least another round. Of course, Tim, 1 is not enough. They need 2 more on top of the round they've just won, even get themselves into draw territory. And that is a lot of room for Santos to eventually have a big round, to get the entry frags and just shut this one off.
They'll be heading back to bar now, and so far it's 50-50 for Black Dragons up on the top floor. Round 7, they lost the top floor site. Round 8, they won it. But if you remember, Jackie, the only way that they won it was that very unlikely PZD disable once the diffuser had been activated. Santos have been very good at attacking this top floor, and really they did nothing wrong up to the point of getting the diffuser down. In fact, by contrast, they did everything right up to that point. It was just the post plant that let them down, and PZD's quick actions to jump into the breach, to plug the hole in the dam with his finger and just keep on the disable, keep just deactivating that diffuser. They're able to win out the round. And Santos, more of the same, really. I think they just need to come in and approach this in the same way that they did, but this time, if the diffuser goes down, just give a little bit more thought to that post plant.
Okay, here we go. 6-4. But Black Dragons, they have 2 more opportunities to get themselves around. And it feels like we've got 1 more opportunity to get back on topic with some dog-related banter. Corey sending in a tweet saying, I believe the beer thing is a misconception. It makes you feel warmer, but actually lowers your core temperature. Also, Australian Shepherds are the go-to dog breed for myself. Ah, cheers, Corey. Thank you, mate.
We're always in for the learning here on LATAM. That's what it's all about, Jackie. We like the little facts. Hopefully we can help you out in a little quiz here or there. Once upon a day, you'll sit there and you'll think, I know this one. I know this one because Ace and Jackie told me about it.
That's what we like to do. You know, we help you with your siege knowledge, with your animal facts, and also at times just very random points of conversation that will crop up, I'm sure, at some point in your life, and you'll go, wow, thanks, LATAM.
And sometimes we talk about siege.
Now and then, of course.
And right now is exactly when we are going to talk about Siege. Santos 6-4 here. Round 11 we find ourselves in on Cafe. Black Dragons fighting hard to keep themselves in this one, but there's just been a few mistakes along the way, particularly a few lost gunfights that have really cost them and that have led them to this point of destruction. As Santos, they are on map point here. It is, of course, best of 12, so first to 7. 6-all will see a draw on the map. Best of 2 series it is, so one way or another there will be a second map, and that second map will be Clubhouse. And depending on what happens here, there are a number of options, but the way we do it is we assign points across both maps. So 2 wins will get you the full 3 points. A win and a draw would be 2. A win and a loss or 2 draws would be 1 point, and a draw and a loss or 2 losses would be 0 points. So Santos, they're trying to put their best foot forward and get themselves fighting for that full 3 points by getting a win here on Cafe, but they're going to need another successful round before that happens.
Coming in close towards the final 60 then, and finally we see a frag, and it goes in favour of Black Dragons. Patoxy off the back of the run-out, the wide swing working well. Zofia has been left in an early grave. Rise wants to pipe up them and bites back. Lagoon is suffering the fate as well. An awkward encounter there on the wide swing round for Cyprus. He can't get 2 frags, it's only going to be the one, leaving it tied up in a head-to-head 3-on-3. A tight round with 40 seconds to play with here. Santos, win this, you win the game. Black Dragons, you've got to get this in the bag to stay alive and kicking, to get yourselves through to the final round, to bring it to a draw. But all of that is ifs and buts at the minute. Nothing is confirmed here, and it is all to play for. Hugzord, he's got something tasty in his back pocket, though. That Nitro, waiting for an opportunity to potentially cast it out and detonate, blowing away the chance of Santos securing this round when push comes to shove. The toxic gas doing damage as well onto Wag. He's been finished off. Hugzord with a 2k, sticking to his firearms to rip his way through them. There's the wide peak from Hornetower as well, as Rise will be trapped in the corridor, set up on a date with the coroner, as Smoke will smoke him.
We're going all the way, Jackie, all the way to 12 to decide whether this will be a draw or will it be a Santos win. You have to feel that Santos almost deserve the win here. They have been the aggressor. They have come through and taken the game by the scruff of the neck. But Black Dragons, they have shown some great resilience, mental fortitude, aplomb, and they are fighting their way back into this and bring themselves into the last round, giving them every opportunity to get a draw and then even maybe snatch a win from what looked like the jaws of defeat by getting into that second map. If they can win on Clubhouse, it will be a victory overall, and it looked unlikely to begin with because Santos, they came out so strong. Let's not forget, at a point Santos were 5-2 up on the scoreboard, Jackie, and Black Dragons have done a great job so far, and it's all going to be answered right now.
The game has to end here and now. Final round, deciding, of course, if it will be a 7-5, right down to the wire, a game that will rattle the core of Santos, where they'll prove their worth in the final moments, or if these two teams are going to come out neck and neck, if it will be a matter of Santos choking it away and giving Black Dragons a draw here onto this map. The difference is vast. The amount of points you could get onto a side like Santos would be critical for them to have a better season this time around throughout Stage 2, Tim. They need these points. It is going to hurt them a lot more than it hurts Black Dragons if they come back in and close this one down as a draw. A terrifying position to be left in, and Hugzord, he's looking to potentially do something quite terrifying early on. Launching out the cameras so he can get a bit of a read off and see if he can go for a bold play.
Spotted out by the Ping 2.0 system. That black eye will not exist for long. Out goes another one in the sort of late prep phase, early action phase. You can see it just being taken out immediately though. Santos very alert to the danger that those black eye cameras pose. You don't want that sort of information. You don't want an aggressive jump out here towards the end of the game to decide your fate. Now, a few shots there could well have netted a lucky kill. Hugzord will take some damage as the spray comes in, but Mighty here, he's just a little bit quiet since that rehost, Jackie, and you have to feel that has been the difference that has allowed Black Dragons to come in and get those rounds. You can't put it all down to one man, of course. You need your entire team firing, but Mighty was just such a big part of the early game here that without him hitting those kills, it's just taken the sting out of Santos's tail somewhat.
It has. It's slowing them down. It's restricted them. They were playing some fast, snappy siege. They were hitting their shots. They were racking up the entries, whereas now it feels like, unfortunately, it's a little bit slower to the burn. This is a man that we need to see doing some damage into this round, though. Mighty on the Zofia. Slipped his way into position by the stairwell. Looking to see if he can stun Black Dragons into this round. If they push him, if they give him that opportunity. There's no overextension yet. He does also have the drone in close proximity to clear out the angles, but isn't going to follow through. They'll stick to their guns and open up the vertical angles to peer down into the site first. Obviously, with the new ping 2.0 as well, it's so much easier to get some of those vertical plays off if you can spot out your opposition. It depends if they will spot anyone out, Tim. Obviously, good play from Cyprus, roaming back around. Ooh, it gives them a bit more to play with, and that was incredibly lucky, as they nearly bit off way more than they could chew. An explosive opener coming out, but it's not going to be a kill for Black Dragons, Tim. It's Santos in the entry.
I don't think you could be stood any closer to a Nitro without dying to it. That is extremely fortunate for Santos there. Scardenia managing to use the vertical angles, and here comes the push. There's the drop into Freezer. We can see two men have gone. They are looking to get in there. Wag is getting the diffuser down, but will be hit by a Nitro. Hornetau on the headshot to Mighty. Hugzor, Don to Cyprus, and now suddenly in a 2 versus 4. Yet again, we see the switcheroo come around, and it is all going in the favour of Black Dragons. Surely they are going to close this one out for the draw, and we are going to have that tight game that we expected. Scardenia, he gets 1 of 3 left to go, and that is the last thing he does as Hugzor shuts him down on the long angle. Black Dragons, they managed to tie things up for a draw on Cafe, and who saw that coming at 5-2?
God damn. A 6-6 finish. They fought back as hard as they could. They really did put it all on the line. It was an incredibly close affair. I do feel like the rehost might have played a bigger part in it, though, Tim, because the momentum did change an awful lot.